Lecture is the Reptilian Agenda. The first line on the programme asks, who and what are they? And further along it points out that this is a controversial subject, and I'll agree with that. Frank has travelled extensively whilst in the Rhodesian Army and afterwards, and he's accumulated some unique experiences. We began this research 28 years ago and will share these with us and maybe even test our versions of normality or reality. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Frank Willis.
Thanks. If I keep leaning against this, it's because I've got a broken leg and it's in plaster. Joys of motorbiking. Right. Thanks again for welcoming me back here. I do enjoy talking and trying to get the message across to people. What I'm going to talk about tonight, over the years, some people have said, oh, you're a total nutcase. And then years later they've come back to me and gone, remember what you said years ago? I went, yeah. I'm starting to wake up a bit. So hopefully tonight I'll put it across in the right way and you'll go away with food for thought. Tonight, of course, it's the Reptilian Agenda. So the first thing I'll do is show a couple of films, exactly what are reptilians. In the second film, the US government, there's a meeting of Congress and it shows the actual meeting of them talking about the reptilians. Okay.
This is an international peace issue and an international security issue, and it should be taken up by the UN Security Council, and of course we are recommending that as well. Yes, sir.
So I think my question is actually to Clifford Stone. You said that you had seen aliens on a craft that had crashed. I wondered if you could describe what they looked like.
I could, but it would probably take a whole lot of time. The reason I state that, when I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference, except for some of the things that they might be able to go ahead, even in a dark room, and touch an object and go ahead and identify what color that object might be. They would have a heightened sense of smell, sight, hearing. The situation is that you have various types of what we normally call grays. We didn't call them grays in the military, but you had at least 3 types of the grays. You had some that were much taller than we were. The unique thing that I'd like to point out for the most part is that the entities that we did catalog were in fact humanoid. Now this created a situation where the scientific community was trying to figure out why that would be the case, because you would expect that if life evolved on other planets, that they would take on some type of other being, so to speak, not necessarily look humanoid or be bipedal such as we are. But apparently we got quite a few of the species out there that are humanoid in appearance. And that creates a question that yet has to be answered by science.
Yes,
footage that was showing some of the alien types what to visit this planet. This next video was filmed in a meeting in Congress with the US government. And they were asked specific questions on the greys. And as you can see, what the official response was. Right, James.
Congress shall now vote for approval of H.R. 8791, the Homeland Terrorism Preparedness Bill. Said bill requests emergency response funding up to and including, I'm sorry, this section is classified, dollars to prepare for a national level terrorist attack and or attack from classified. Funding for first responder personnel and vehicles would be doubled if said attack leads to more than 80% of the national population being affected by classified. This funding shall commence in conjunction with the first attack on classified, or the first large-scale outbreak of classified, dependent upon which comes first. Civilian and military units shall be trained in containment and combat of classified, including irradiated classified, with possibility of classified airborne, classified flesh-eating, classified, and or all of the above in such event as classified spewing, classified escape, are released or otherwise become uncontrollable. Air Force units may also be directed to combat said classified due to their enormous size and otherworldly strengths. Should event occur in urban areas, Jesus. That's classified. Farts or anything as nightmares. Should casualties exceed classified body disposal actions, shall be halted and associated resources shall be reallocated to classified underground, classified protected birthing centers. A new Bill of Rights shall be drafted and approved by classified. Having now reviewed the bill, I ask you to please cast your vote.
Right, well, as you can see, it was classified. When I first watched that, like you, I laughed my head off. And then I started taking in the seriousness of it and the extent the government goes to cover up. I mean, this is Congress talking about something what should be public and in the interest of safety to the citizens of the USA, but it's classified. Over the years, I have heard of different papers coming out what get classified, but they're passed on by people that I do know around the world that were in intelligence agencies. Sometimes when they talk to you, they think, are these people on this planet? Have they been taking drugs or something? When you get a senator like that stood up, just say classified, you start to believe these people. Anyway, reptilians, how I first got into them was 1979, when I was in the Rhodesian Army. We were on a long-range patrol into Mozambique. I woke one morning and I said to the guy next to me, I said, "Dino, I've had a right weird dream last night." He said, "Yeah, so did I." He said, "Well, I had a dream that we had a firefight with pygmies." He said, "Yeah, so did I." I said, "How can you have the same dream as me?" So we checked for ammunition, and I expended 7 magazines through an FN rifle. Well, straight away I know if you fire magazine after magazine with an FN rifle, after about the 4th magazine, the barrel will overheat and it'll jam. So that puzzled me. Then we talked to a few of the other guys in the patrol. They said, "Yeah, I've had the same dream." Anyway, the dream which we had was, I woke up and this firefight was raging, so being a soldier, you react, and I laid down suppressing fire, and everything was in slow motion. It was like a very yellow glow everywhere, but these pygmies we were shooting at were firing back, and they were firing like pulses of light at us. The light was about that long going past us. Nobody got injured, and when we discussed this in the morning, so you know, what really happened? Where's our ammunition gone? We had a look round for spent cartridges. There were none. There was no damage to the bush around us. And we thought, this is really weird. You know, in all, there was probably thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition laid down with no trace of it ever happening. But the ammunition had gone. When we got back to base at Grand Reef near Reptilian in Rhodesia, we were all called into the CO's office and told never to speak about it again. Which, I don't know about the other guys, but I never spoke about it until I came back to this country. I met my first wife, and she came home one night and she had the film Close Encounters of a Third Kind. Now, up until that point, if anybody said to me aliens exist, I would have gone, no, you're a nutter, go away. I didn't believe in anything like that. The only thing I ever watched when I was a kid was Star Trek, and that was as closest I ever got to aliens. But right at the end of Close Encounters, when these aliens walked out of the spaceship, my jaw went to the floor. I was in shock, and I was like, that's what we had the firefight with. My ex-wife went, what are you ranting on about now? And I went, you won't believe it, but one night in Mozambique, we had a firefight with beings that looked just like that. So that story, I wanted to know what the answer was. Started buying UFO magazines, started going to the library looking for aliens and stuff. Quickly found information on the Greys. I also found out that the Greys kind of work on, or some of the Greys, working hand in hand with some of the Reptilians. And I got more interested in the Reptilians because they seem to be the more dominant ones. And then alarm bells started ringing in my head from when I was a kid, growing up in Rhodesia. I remember chasing the house girl around the house with a chameleon, and she was petrified. And I could never understand why the blacks in Africa were scared of chameleons. And I started to realise, well, it's built within our psyche that we're scared of snakes. You know, if I held the snake up now, I guarantee you some of you would run out the door. But you don't really know why. It's just inbuilt in your psyche. And it's started to read stuff like the Bible. You know, I was brought up a Catholic, and it always says in the Bible that Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and Eve met the devil, which is referred to often as a serpent. The more research I've done on that, I realised that the devil wasn't a serpent, he was actually a reptilian.